reunite separated families. But administration officials were unable to clarify when the separations would end or how families would be reunited. Reuters' Reed Levinson has the story.
It's still a bit of a scramble for parents to be reconnected with their children they've been separated from. I mean, on the one hand, you have border processing facilities, you have ORR shelters across the country, you have parents who've been deported to countries like Guatemala and Honduras that are scrambling to be in touch with organizations on the ground. They're reaching out to the consulates. There's still no central system for connecting all these pieces of the puzzle and reuniting parents with children.
Now, what the mainstream media is not telling you is this plan is not new. In 2014, the Obama administration housed about 7,000 illegal children on 3 military bases. And of course, Team Obama also separated the illegal adults from the children. And look at that. Obama kept them in cages, made them sleep on the floor, wrapped them in foil, no less. Foil. How cruel. So why is it that the left and the mainstream media have such short memories, convenient memories? Why was this practice okay under the 44th, but it's now inhumane under the 45th? Joining me now from Washington, D.C., Professor of American Studies, African American Studies, at the University of Maryland, and political commentator Jason Nichols, Ph.D. Jason, the left, I answer my own question there. The left doesn't really care about the children here. What they care about is having a political wedge issue for November. And so congratulations, left. You know, we have Nancy Pelosi, we have Chuck Schumer, and all the Democrats who want to take control of the House and the United States Senate. Congratulations. They found their political voice for November. It's all about the children, the illegal children.
No, I think it is all about the children, but I will also say that some of Obama's policies were roundly criticized by the left as well. Now, again, you're a little bit off in terms of thinking about how Obama treated families that arrived together and the separation issue. We know that zero tolerance was a Trump policy, and so-called catch and release was the Obama policy. So I think it's a little unfair to make it seem as though they were exactly the same and that there were no changes made. There certainly were changes made. The Trump policy was a little more callous, but I will agree with you that there were problems with Obama's policies, and this is why we need comprehensive immigration reform.
Well, I think the difference, Jason, is that one president, that would be the 44th, was just going through the motions for the catch and release, and the other president is actually trying to do his job, and that's deport people. But when you look at this executive order that was signed...
Hold on, Graham. Graham, may I interrupt you really quickly? Obama deported more people than any prior president. So, I mean, let's not say that he wasn't deporting people.
I don't know what crackerjack you got that from,
but... hey, look it up. Look it up. It's fact.
Well, Obama allowed more people into this country than any other president in the United States who shouldn't have been here. They were all illegal. How about that? I don't have any empirical facts on that, but I think it's probably accurate as well. But let's talk about facts here. This executive order seems to me like it's a setup on the part of the Democrats. And I don't think President Trump should have done this. And by setup, I mean, what's going to happen here is this thing's going to be challenged in court. They've already said that they're going to challenge the thing in court because there's prior rulings that kids can't be held for more than 20 days, right? So the president kind of walked into this thing. It's going to end up in court because the master plan for the Democrats is a giant catch and release. They know that most of these people do not qualify for asylum in the end. They also know that most of these people will not end up showing up for a court date if they are caught and released. And so what this is a giant prelude for DACA 2.0. Once these people get infused in our society years and years later, Democrat Party is going to say, hey, we need to do it all over again.
Well, I'll tell you this. Number one, as an educator myself, I think DACA was an incredible program. It allowed for a lot of kids who are actually Americans. I have a good friend who's been in this country since they were 3 years old, and you can't say that they are any less American than you or me. So I actually don't have a problem with DACA. I think it was actually a really good policy that kept American kids in America. But what I will say is that I think where we can find common ground here is that I will agree that Congress needs to act. And the people who are in control of Congress are Republicans. So I think we need to do something sensible about immigration. That's what needs to happen.
But if these folks were actual refugees, the ones who are violating our border, who are coming in here illegal and then claiming asylum, the folks from Guatemala, you can't claim asylum if you're a Mexican. You can't do that. But you can if you're from Guatemala.
Oh, well,
so, no, wait.
Okay.
So if you're leaving Guatemala because of persecution or whatever, as soon as you set foot into Mexico, shouldn't you be claiming asylum then?
Well, in certain parts of Mexico, we know that they're still not safe, particularly when you're running from dangerous gangs. So one of the things that the Trump administration has told America is that MS-13, Mara Salvatrucha, is a very dangerous, violent gang. These people are, as he called them, animals. But then the people running from them, he says that they're not worthy of asylum. So which is it? Are they a dangerous, violent gang that's murdering and raping people that we should be afraid of? Or is it this all-or-nothing burger and we should just not allow people to have asylum? So this is some of the contradictions of this administration that they need to clear up.
But there's no contradiction there. MS-13 is a violent gang, and these people who are coming here illegally into this country need to be deported. Where's the vagueness there?
I think there's a lot of vagueness. You're saying that those people aren't worthy of getting asylum.
I'm saying if they were true refugees, if they were really seeking asylum, they would have declared themselves in Mexico seeking asylum. Yeah, sure, Mexico in some parts is a dangerous place, but it's pretty bucolic in other places as well. Heck, parts of East LA are way more dangerous than many parts of Mexico.
Oh, well, I think the residents of East LA would debate that. But I definitely think that, particularly if you're trying to run from some of these gangs, they're certainly very present in parts of Mexico, certainly southern Mexico, which is where people from Guatemala would be coming into Mexico.
Right.
So they're trying to find a country where they feel safe. And America, of course, we know we accept the poor, the tired, the huddled masses. So we should at least accept people who are refugees who are afraid for their lives.
Well, I think that the children are in better hands here, separated from their parents, than they were being dragged 1,000 or so miles from one border to another. They're being treated way better than that, than the child abuse that their own parents inflicted upon them. But in the end, both the child and the parent, they need to follow our law, and our law says they need to be deported because they didn't enter the United States the correct way. Jason, thank you.